Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it, and I promise to update daily. If you love this watch, you can see it and purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. A blast from the middle of the last decade's past. This is a timepiece with broad appeal, and this is the Omega Seamaster Professional Diver 300m GMT, a coaxial chronometer, 41mm in stainless steel. On my 16cm circumference wrist, you can see the watch wears much like the traditional Pierce Brosnan Bond Seamaster. It's just a little bit thicker, but it has no more wrist real estate consumed. The watch is 41mm, not including the crown or the helium escape valve or the crown guards, and it's not excessively thick, 14.3, but with a cup-shaped caseback that nestles down on the wrist, it sits more like 13.5 tall. Now the watch is reasonably constrained across the wrist with a manageable 47.5mm if you were to wear it on a strap, and it looks the business on a strap, but because we have solid end links here, the absolute distance across the wrist is a still manageable 52.5. I'd say on the bracelet, where this watch on a wrist as small as 14.5cm circumference. Now the timepiece does have a 20mm spacing between the lugs if you wish to accessorize with the strap, and in particular this watch looks great on a Hirsch water-resistant shark strap. I've got a particular affinity for that one and Diver 300s with blue dial and bezel. This is the classic 5-link sort of pseudo-sports bracelet that was made famous by the Bond Seamaster. I say pseudo-sports because the tumble home of the flanks of the links, how they round off at the sides, as well as the small polished segments at center, impart an elegance that is altogether missing in the Omega 3-link bracelets as well as the Rolex Oyster. So this is a versatile piece. As ever, these early Seamaster 300 bracelets feature pin sleeves for sizing. A bit more work to do when sizing your watch, but they do stay in there and they do stay resolutely in place. There's a half link for sizing. There is an opposite half link for sizing, and then you have an all-or-nothing dive extension. This was a fully milled out piece, quite solid, that forced Rolex to rethink its clasp quality in the mid-2000s. And that's true of the clasp generally. As you can see, it's all milled from the solid, and rather than a clamshell lock or a friction fit system, it uses twin triggers. The swing arms, also machined. The clasp itself feels like a solid block of steel, quite imposing. It was the best of the 90s, and it remains one of the best today. Now, the timepiece does feature a handsome case that will be similar to a million other Omega sports watches, as the combination of sheer sides with satin finish and polished flaring bevels has been used on everything from Speedmasters to Seamasters, and both of them since the mid-1960s. But the helium escape valve is a signature of this series, and it first debuted back in 1993 with the first of the Seamaster Diver 300 meters. Probably not something you'll need for saturation divers, those who use exotic gas mixtures to dive professionally. You'll use this, but everyone else, simply note that it's more than you need. Luxury is about getting more than you need, and as a conversation starter, Bond used the one in his Q-issued variant as a grenade. The timepiece does feature a unidirectional rotating bezel with a solid click. It offers enough resistance, a chunky action, and a satisfying report. The one flaw in this system, and again, this is only for you hardcore divers out there, is that there's a little bit of a shallow knurling that looks great and makes the watch appear even slimmer than it is, but maybe it isn't quite as grippy as what you'll find on a Planet Ocean. Nevertheless, line up the index with the Bond skeleton hands, a signature of this series, and you've got an impromptu 0 to 60-minute timer. It's almost like having a chronograph without the downstream mechanical chronograph service costs. Plus, you get a GMT. It's both a diver and a GMT. As you can see, this is a unidirectional dive bezel, not the bidirectional GMT bezel often seen on Omega Seamaster GMTs from other families and other series. Omega Wave dial, blue matte finish. You can see this was before the move to lacquer and then later ceramic, so the signature design is in place, but it's a higher grade of dial than you would have seen on the 90s Bond Seamasters. This was made in the mid-2000s, so you have applique indices rather than printed. Shocks of red exploding against that blue base, and you can see that not only is there plenty of luminescent material, but they also illuminate the seconds hand and the 24-hour hand, refinements that I absolutely dig. Now you move the local hour hand like such, and you can see how I can actually adjust the date either direction as I move across the international date line while traveling, and it doesn't actually stop any of the indications besides local hours, so it doesn't interrupt the chronometer grade timing of this watch. Now pull the crown out all the way to the final stop, and you do hack or stop the seconds. Surprise, surprise, you can see your movement. On this Diver 300, you have a display caseback, and this was an early display case back on the Diver 300 series, you can see everything for which you've paid, and what you have purchased is the Omega caliber 2628. It's based on the 2500 coaxial chronometer, which is itself based on the ETA 2892A2 chronometer. 48-hour power reserve rather than the 42 of the base movement. Free sprung balance that beats away at 4 Hz. The standard did feature an Edicron system. This is free sprung, tougher and more precise to regulate. Bidirectional automatic winding. The hacking seconds in dual time and 12 and 24-hour formats are present and correct. Nicely executed. It's a 5-position adjustment to earn its chronometer certificate, and it features 27 pivot joules, up significantly from the 2892A2's 21 joules. This is an impressive piece. Nicely decorated, nicely engineered, and it incorporates George Daniels' unique tangential contact multi-level coaxial escapement, which remains one of the most exotic high horology escapements you can buy in a mainstream watch. See this 300-meter Diver GMT and make it yours on the watch box. Omega Seamaster Diver 300-meter GMT. See it and make it yours on the watch box.